Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the English news from Djibouti channel. Here are the top stories of our editions tonight. The head of state participated in the ceremony of the centenary of the armistice on November 12. Acting Prime Minister and head of government presided the launching ceremony of the 32nd sessions of the mayors in Mozambique. African largest suspension bridge officials open to traffic. Welcome if you join us on TV channel. The Djiboutian President Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh arrived yesterday in Paris, capital of France, to participate in its campaign. He was accompanied by a strong delegation composed ministers such as the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Corporations. A dozen of heads of state and government participated in Paris to commemorate the centenary of the armistice of the Great War, the opportunity of Emmanuel Macron to define the multilateralism nearly Parliament gathered on this Sunday in Paris to commemorate the centenary of Great War's armistice, an extraordinary gathering that Emmanuel Macron wants to use to promote multilateralism in international relations. The Prime Minister and acting head of government Abdulqadir Kamil Mohammed presided this Monday at the launching ceremony of the 32nd sessions of the Administrative Council of the Organizations of Capital and Islamic Cities, which took place at Djibouti Kempinski Palace. This international event will gather from 11 to 12 in November in Djibouti. More than a dozen mayors of Islamic capitals and cities with the first of our country. In his speech, the Prime Minister and head of the government parliamentary, Mr. Abdulqadir Kamil Mohammed, welcomed the delegations of mayors of Islamic cities to attend the decisions of Administrative Council of the OCVI. Mr. Abdulqadir Kamil Mohammed underlined the feeling of proud following the appointment by the board of directors of OCV of Djibouti at the host capital of these 32nd sessions. The Prime Minister said in his speech that the importance of the government and the people of Djibouti attached to the work at the 32nd sessions of Administrative Council of the Organization of Capital and Islamic Cities in Djibouti. Finally, Mr. Abdulqadir Kamil Mohammed has the OCV to promote the development of Islamic cities and capitals and the promotions of an Islam well in line with the precepts of Islam. The mayor of the city, Mrs. Fatuma Awale, also welcomed the guests and thanked the permanent committee of the organizations of Islamic capitals and city throughout this Secretary General, Mr. Omar Abdullah Khedi, for the choice of the city of Djibouti hosted the high-level conference. She underlined the feeling of pride following the appointment by the board of directors of OCV of Djibouti at the host capitals of this 32nd session. The Prime Minister said in his the mayor say in her speech the importance that the government and the people of Djibouti attach to the work of 32nd session of Administrative Council of Organizations. The Prime Minister, Mr. Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, welcomed during his speech the guests to the Republic of Djibouti. He highlighted the importance of the Djibouti government, the holding the 32nd session of Administrative Council of Organizations. He congratulated the OCVI for promoting the development of Islamic cities and capitals and the promotion of an Islam well in step with the precepts of religions. Prime Minister and acting head of government Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed presided this ceremony of 32nd sessions of Administrative Council of the Organization of Capitals and Islamic Cities, which took places in Campiski Palace. This international event will gather from 11 to 12 November in Djibouti more than a dozen mayors of Islamic capitals and cities, which is first of our country. The Minister of Health, Dr. Jama Al-Maurki, inaugurated the extensions of Ali Adi Health Center with funding from the World Bank. This inaugural ceremony was attended by representatives of several international organizations such as UNHCR, WHO, and UNICEF, as well as UNIDS, and many other strategic partners of the Department of Health. The transformation of the former health host into a level 2 community health center was established by increasing the minimum activity package with the implementation of high performance technical platforms such as fluoroscopy and laboratory, but also with the creation of a maternity. On the sideline of this event, the Minister of Health, Dr. Jama Al-Maurki, launched the national campaign against missiles of the region held yesterday morning at the Ali Ade. The launch ceremony was attended by a representative of several international organizations and many executives from the Department of Health. This national mass immunization campaign against missiles in the region aims to immunize all Djiboutian children to counter the spread of the virus following recent report for measles cases observed in the borders area. In his turn, the Minister of Health said that this preventative campaign of mass vaccination against measles will build an impermeable barrier against any risk of resurgence of measles in our country. The Minister also requested the active involvement of all the forces by expressively asking the parents to vaccinate their children at the fixed positions close to their area of residence. The Minister Delegated for Decentralization, Mr. Hamidou Mohamed Aramis, went yesterday to Obokh region at the head of a delegation composed of officials from his department, but also those of agriculture, education, national and social affairs. This family mobilized strongly to welcome the Minister of Decentralization. The people of this village in the extreme northwest of the country known the Ministers of Decentralization from the time he worked at the Ministry of Agriculture. He led major hydraulic works. The Prefect Obokh, Mr. Dabele, and the President of the Regional Council, Mr. Ismail, warmly thanked the Minister of making this trip to Adwengo to inquire about the living conditions of population despite the poor state of the track. By taking the floor, the Minister of Decentralization went straight to the point. What I just heard confirmed that here in Adwengo you will only ask for 3 things: water, education for your children, and access to care of all as part of the fight against thirsty, the Minister of Agriculture say in his speech. He has made 2 large drinking reservoirs, and 2 underground centers. I believe these books meet your expectations and will increase in future. The minister said that on these rugged, remote Djiboutian lands lives a large population that neither the recurring drought nor the absence of basic infrastructure did not make flee. Better still, Adwengo is characterized by an important birth rate. The breeders of goats and camels, these Obokwas are men and women who resist and fight, facing an extreme climate and isolation that had lasted too long, concluded the Minister of Decentralization during his speech. And now let's move on continental news. The largest suspension bridge in Africa and the road links of Mozambique, which allow to cross Maputo Bay, have been open to traffic as part of the project to build the Maputo Bridge and road links implemented by China Road and Bridge Corporation with the Chinese fund and standard. The 3-kilometer suspended bridge has 2 towers extend over 680 meters above Maputo Bay, west of Indian Ocean. Speaking at the inauguration, Mozambique's President Filipe Jacinto said the project will facilitate ties between the country and the north of the African countries and realize the hope of foundations of the Union African in 1963. Mr. Nayus also stressed that the bridge has fulfilled the wish of people and it has the potential to contribute to the tourism and logistics sector and the national economic and regional integrations. Here we come the end of our edition. Thank you to watching us and follow the Djibouti channels. Have a good night. Goodbye.